So I think it's Jeremiah, right, who messaged me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Jeremiah, tell me, what is it that you want to know? Be more clear.
Uh, about like how we need to like do in GD, how we need to talk, where we
Are
need.
the GDs happening even now? Are the GDs still relevant? Only in campus, I think they're relevant, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So one thing is that makes sense to me because I am in college.
Right. Anybody else from the participants who want to know more detailed about GD? Because I will just keep in mind whether I should answer Jeremiah or I should give you a little more detailed of how you should behave or work in friend when it comes to GD. Others, I'm asking you, apart from Jeremiah, do you want me to explain a little more detailed or just give a brief answer to Jeremiah? Hello? Arvind says yes. Okay. Detailed, sir. Wasim also wants a little more detailed. Okay. So let me give you a little brief of what happens in GD. So initially, when I was planning for an interview thing, I have in fact a detailed portion of group discussions which I have thought of. But then I also realized that group discussions are slowly getting little more out of what do you call that? Out of fashion, right? But if it's a campus interview, they will do a group discussion. If you go for a walk-in interview, they will also do a group discussion. So the way it works is like this: interviews or entire interview process is normally two types. One is called as a selection process, and the other one is called as rejection process. Okay. Now, what happens in these two? Let's understand. Rejection process works like this. If I have 100 people, I will do one round and then I will take 80 out of that. Then I will do one another round. That round can be a written test, that round can be a group discussion, that round can be anything. Okay. So the second round I do, and from that 80, I will make it to 40. Then I will do some other kind of a things, that 40, I will make it say 20 or 10. And then those 10 will go for a series of interviews. That is what rejection process is. That's what actually happens in campus interviews, or when you go for walk-in kind of interviews where the openings are limited and participants are a lot. They have to do a rejection process because they cannot do everything for everybody. But when it comes to other part of interviews, which is called as a selection process, what happens is they would have planned a series of a minimum 3 rounds of interview where everybody goes through that, and then they decide on whether they're okay with them or not okay with them, not just with one option. Minimum of 2 rounds normally happens. If a company has 4 rounds of interview, minimum of 2 rounds will be where everybody will go, because here it's not just one person judging whether you should take or not, but multiple people's opinion will be there. In the organizations, there is also something called as briefing. Now what happens there is, once one round of interview, so before itself, like this is what a candidate would not know, the organization itself will create a panel of people who will do the interviews for that particular day or that particular person. That might be say 5-member panel or 8-member panel, depending upon size of the organization and number of interview rounds, and the criticality of the role and all that. After every round of interview, these all 5 to 8 people meet up for 2 minutes to 5 minutes and then discuss about the feedbacks, and then they decide on what is the next person is supposed to do, and then they carry it forward. That's typically how the process happens. Now, talking about the group discussion is part of the rejection process. Rejection process, don't take it negative. It's basically means they'll cut people down. So what happens in a campus interview, there are 120, 130 people, who will at a time attend the interviews, and a company might need, 15 to 20 people or 10 people. So they don't want to really interview all these people. They want to shortlist few things. And that's when two tools they use. Number one is called written test. Written test is used again in multiple ways. I'm not getting more into written test because today we want to talk more on the group discussion. That's what you people asked. The second bit, the group discussion goes like this. A group of 8 to 10 members sit in a place. A general topic is given, and then everybody talks. And then there are a couple of people from the organization itself who just sit and observe. Okay. Now, generally the definition and how it happens, you all would be knowing, right? What I want you all to understand, know, and learn is how does it work from the company's point of view, so that you know how to prepare well for it. So in a group discussion, people are not actually very focused to know who is right or who is wrong, because the topics which they give, there is nothing called as right or wrong. Everybody will have their own opinion. Now, what they want to see is, are these people capable enough of, number one, forming an opinion, number two, sticking to their opinion or supporting their own opinion, not going here and there because somebody is saying something else, and number three, able to present the opinion, right? That's one part of it in the opinion side. The second part of it, they would see on your behavioral skills, which includes your communication, which includes the way you start, the way you carry it, and a bit of leadership, and all those comes under the behavioral, what I'm talking about, to see how they are a team player. They help each other, or they want to fight against each other to get it. Unfortunately, most of the people take it up as a fight, and then they start banging the table and trying to say their own point, and the same point they keep saying 10 times. These are all not a very nice way of doing a group discussions. See, group discussion, it's a discussion. Discussion means you have an opportunity to present your opinion. Somebody has an opportunity to present their opinion. There might not be a clash that is required over there. Right now, as much you respect your opinion, you respect the other's opinion as well. You might not agree with it, that's a different story, but you need to respect it. Now, what happens here is people try to say counter to counter just to say that others are wrong and I am right. Not needed. Number two, what they say is they will have one point to talk, and they keep telling the same thing by taking more and more time. These group discussions are typically 15 minutes time, where they will give you 2 minutes time to think about it, say 8 to 10 minutes time to talk between yourself, and last 3 minutes they'll keep for summarizing. Now, what they do for summarizing is they will typically ask those people who have not spoke in the entire discussion to talk about what is their view on this entire thing. Okay. Now, how you should be prepared for it. Since the topics are very general, right? You don't need to worry and study different topics and all. What you need to keep it is little general knowledge and your point of view. There is always a benefit of starting, because that's one way they see that this is the person who starts the point. But at the same time, everybody is trained like this. So the moment they say start, everybody jumps on it. So when everybody is trying to jump on it, you do not worry. Hold on until a right chance comes. See, people put their own point. What you need to do is, the smart way to do is, you need to take the limited possible time and give them the best possible point of discussion. So when they tell you to think about it, don't try just writing 10 12 things, which try the overall summary kind of a thing, which you could say what you feel about the topic, right? At the same time, respect others. Now, once you told a point, don't try to tell the same point again, because that is wastage of time. There is a very limited time. If you are again trying to talk something, add to it or support somebody. For example, you said a point, and there are always 3 different routes that you can take for a topic which they give. One is for the topic, right? 2 is against the topic, whatever they would have given. 3 is something which is neither you agree with it nor you disagree with, which is a middle point, where you are saying that either both are correct, or you're saying both are wrong, or you are always taking the middle path. Most of these discussions, it is a little smarter way to take the middle path. The only benefit when you get a middle path is, you will not have either side of the people targeting you, because many people, unfortunately, in the group discussion try to target and pull you and say something and all. So if you take something like, the kind of topics will be which kind of is a male leader or a woman leader, men leader or a woman leader should lead. Then somebody suddenly says woman and they talk, somebody says man, then they talk. The point you should talk is, it doesn't really matter whether they are male or a female. If they have the leadership quality, I think they should come. We should not stop the the talent or some of anybody by saying whether they are a men or they are women. See, this is the third point. What I said is the middle route always, right? For example, is India corrupt? Some people say, yes, India is very corrupt. So see, this happens, that happens, that happens. Others says, I don't think India is corrupt. It is only corrupt. Maybe some people think like that, and stuff like that. Maybe you can take a middle path, says, as a whole country, I should not say that they are corrupt, but there are definitely certain aspects of it which are being corrupted. And those who are not yet corrupted should come forward, work towards to ensure that we come to a state where it is not, or it's corruption free. See, when you try to take a middle path, always everybody will come and join you, and that's exactly how the leadership quality and that all stuff comes. Right? That's with regard to kind of taking the topic. As I mentioned, you don't tell the same thing 10 times. You have to keep your point very crisp, straight, and strong, right? And once you put a point, stick to that. Because somebody said something, don't just waver your point, because that's exactly what they follow. Now, from the interviewer point of time, they will have a sheet of paper which will have 4 or 5 columns written in which they will score you, right? You should know about that so that you'll prepare accordingly. One says thought process of the topic, like how they are thinking about a topic. That is the first few lines which are saying. Second one says communication, right? How did you put your point? Did you use many words, less words, and is the English okay? And are you confidently able to talk all that? The third one talks more of body language and behavior, like how are you sitting in the GD? Like when you sit in any GD or interview, say don't lean on your back, right? You need to ensure that you are sitting front, right? Try to keep your hands on the table. Don't try to keep the hands below it, and don't do all this unnecessary movement. Don't hit the table, don't show fingers, but talk. Use your hands to explain things. Okay, that's what they would see in behavior. They would also see something called as leadership skills and team skills. When they say leadership and team skills, they see, are you just talking or are you listening to everybody and anybody? So whenever you see in the GD, whoever is talking, listen to them, turn towards them and listen, listen properly to those people who are talking at that moment. And if somebody is interrupting, maybe you should get in and say, can you just wait for a minute? Let them make a point, then we will get back to you. See, these are the kind of interventions you should do, wherein you are kind of managing the entire group discussion to ensure it is happening peaceful. And then when it comes in the end for summarizing, and if you get a chance, summarizing is not telling your viewpoint. Summarizing is basically telling everybody's viewpoint. So you need to say, so we had a topic like this where people had different views. One is talking about this, one is talking about this, and we also have people who are talking like this. Now, when you're summarizing, you are not supposed to put again your own point. Your point is done. People have this thought that whatever I talk, I will select. If there are 5 parameters, it will be 10 marks each. Your topic, you spoke very well, you got 10 out of 10. Very good. But your behavior, your communication, your confidence and other things, and your body language, everything matters. So each of these things carries its own marks. So overall, how you should work. Those are a few things that you should keep in mind when it comes to a group discussion. Okay, fair enough, Jeremiah? Detailed enough?
Yes, sir.
You have any questions further on it, or should I proceed ahead?
No, sir. No such.
Very good. How many of you have managed to write your stories? How many of you have prepared your resumes? So today is the last class. Have you all started working on it? Hello? Any of you have not yet started working? Yes?
Hello.
Yes, who's this? Balu.
Balu.
Yeah, Balu, tell me.
Sir, I have made a resume.
You made a resume. Very good. Where is it?
I have already sent in your mail, sir.
Oh, you sent me in a mail. I haven't checked. Sorry, I was in meeting, and I just started the session. I will check to that. Not a problem. Good, you have made a resume. Guys, see this. From tomorrow, I would not be there to ask you this question. So you wish you have spent enough time and you try to learn. These learnings will not stay for a longer time. If you want to, use it, put it on. right? Make a profile, make your success stories, use this trick, whatever I'm teaching completely. Don't just pick one small piece like, okay, I learned about tail answering and let me just do the tail answering bit and, get it. No, that's not how it is. You need to ensure you do entire thing. That's how basically it works. Okay, so for today, I was thinking I will talk to you people on virtual interview skills, and then I also thought of a mock, but I don't know how many of you would be ready for a mock interview, or we can clear a lot more questions that you would have for there. Okay, let me just try to. Okay, who is the host? Okay, give me one moment. I think some problem with my Zoom where I'm not the host, I'm not able to share it. Give me 1 minute time. Okay, guys, I'm going to just log off and log in and come back again. All of you be there. Okay, can you all hear me? People, can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So I had to do some login stuff, which I haven't done. That's exactly, I think, why we were not able to get that. Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, it's talking about virtual interview skills, right? So this is the last topic that I thought I should discuss with you all people. Now, it is not just that because right now we have COVID on head, that interviews are only happening or going to happen virtual. Virtual interview is something which is always there in the process, right? And this is something which is very least focused, unfortunately. But most of your interviews starts virtually always, and then it goes to a face-to-face kind of a thing. Imagine your first rounds of interview, what happens? It's on the telephone. When I say virtual, it is not only video, it is also over the phone. And those interviews are equally important as it comes to your face-to-face things. Okay, so a virtual interview is an interview that takes place remotely, sometimes over the phone, but often using technologies like video conferencing and other online communication platforms. Nowadays, interviews being virtual, but people are working every day virtual. There are people who do not go to office here from last 4 5 months, they have not been to office. They've been every day working, but almost, 10 to 12 hours, but working from home. On the virtual platforms only, right? Virtual interviews are often conducted much the same way as face-to-face interview. There is no difference, right? With regard to the way the process happens. Virtual interview is also a part of the selection process, which will ensure that, whether this candidate will be taken out or not. So what happens, or let me tell you the background of why this virtual interview actually happens and why companies conduct this kind of an interviews. So, see, in an organization, when a candidate comes, 5-6 people need to do an interview to see whether they fit completely in the role that they are looking or not. So to ensure you get a candidate who is fit, they need to get 5-6 of their key people who will come and take interviews. Now, the biggest challenge, for an HR person in the organization is to get this panel of people to take interviews, because everybody has their own work. You understand? Everybody busy in their own things. Now, it is difficult for them to take some time out and do an additional work, because taking your interview is not their KRA. You understand what is KRA? Key responsible area. Like if their work is checked on certain parameters, taking interview is not one of it, but still they have to spend that time, right? So they are as serious as any other interview, even if it is virtual. It's only that if it's virtual, it can be in any odd times as well. For example, most of my virtual interviews, which I have taken for my people, I would tell them that, is it okay to talk to me at morning 9 o'clock or say evening 6:30? Now I have a reason, because I'm sure who are in Bangalore, you all understand Bangalore and you all understand Bangalore traffic. So my 9:30 in the morning, I get into my car, I put my interview call, and by the time I reach office, which is almost 1 hour kind of a thing, I have an entire traffic to talk peacefully and take an interview, and so do in the evening time. So this is one way. I'm just talking from the person who takes interview, right? They need to spend that serious time. See, I would want to listen to music or go easily in my car, but still I'm going to spend that time. So don't take virtual interviews lightly. There are two kind of virtual interviews over the phone also will happen. That is, number one is basically finding the interest. Now that is the first call you will have. The first call of interview that you get is basically that your profile has been shortlisted, you send your updated resume, we will try to fix an interview. This is basically where you will check your GD and all. I'm not talking about that interview when I'm teaching you people how to prepare for it, okay? Because that is always a sudden interview. You would have applied in 10 jobs, you have put in this portal, that portal, somebody calls, and your objective over there is to do two things only. One, understand that what is the requirement they're looking at, and number two, show them that you're interested to attend the interview, right? That's the only two things. I need 1 second time, okay? Just give me 1 second time. Hello. Hey, get up. मैं आपको फोन करो 7 o'clock को प्लीज. मैं ट्रेनिंग में हूँ. I just had to 7 को करता हूँ. 7:15 I'll call you. Yeah, 7:15. Thanks. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I was talking to you about the seriousness which you take over the call, which is in the first call. The first call is anyway to check. So you need to do those two things. Understand the job description very, very neatly and carefully. And at the same time, ensure that you are, showing them that interest, that yes, you want to get into the role, and then, you're doing everything possible for that. They'll ask you for sending the updated resume, and you know what all things to do. Now, the other part, when I say, how you need to prepare for it is what we talk. There is one thing called as telephonic interview. The other thing is called as video interview. So we will learn about both the things and see what is it that needs to be done and how do you need to work for that. Okay. Now, how do you prepare for the interview? Preparing for a telephonic interview is as equal as preparing for your face-to-face interview. There is no change, right? So even highly capable candidates can be rejected at this early stage if they are inadequately prepared or not used to speaking in a professional manner over phone. Right. Now, what I was telling you there, it is so difficult for an organization to get the interview panel also, because everybody is busy in their works. So they want to first conduct a preliminary round over the telephonic to see that is this the candidate good enough to get into the role. But the person who conducts the interview will not normally be a very small person in the entire chain. He will be the key person. For example, when I hire people for my training and development team, okay, I will create a panel like these 5 people will be part of the interview panel. Now, what I do is first interview, which is on the telephonic one, after the HR would have fixed the appointment and all, I will take where they will work in my team, because first I want to be sure if I'm okay with this candidate. Only then I will take them through the other organizations. Now, this was the rule in my company, and I understand this would be the rule in many of the companies. So the people for whom, means the one who is your manager is going to take that first call. And then if he or she is fine, then it goes to the next one. Okay. Now, how do you prepare for that is same thing. See, you need a super practice in telephone. Telephone, there are few technical problems that could happen. For example, network, your mobile battery is low, or you have a lot of noise around, because all these interviews will also be scheduled. It's not like anytime anybody will call you. You can, if anybody will call you like that, you can say, can you give me 5-10 minutes time? Now, what you need to do in that 5-10 minutes is you need to arrange that you are sitting in a place which is calm, peaceful, and you can talk easily over there on the phone, and there is no network issues. You need to go to a place like that. If you're on the way somewhere, you get into some hotel or some mall. Mall is a very good place, in fact, because there is a lot of people, but everybody finds their own corner. Or you get into a training room, your friend's room, your house, lock the door and find that silent place. Give super importance for this, because this is your next step to go ahead, right? You got to practice as much as possible. Like any other interview, like it's exactly like face-to-face interview, but just people are not seeing each other directly. Even in the virtual interview, which is video, it is also exactly like face-to-face, but it is just that they're not seeing. So the way you talk, your sound, your smile, your energy, and your questioning capacity, everything should be there, because the resume which you have prepared, right? The updated resume that you have prepared is already in their hand. So they could ask you questions. You should have your success stories in place. You should answer them, using the tail answering technique, everything as is. So telephonic interview also needs some practice. The biggest places where people fail in telephonic interviews are not able to manage surrounding sounds, mobile charging, and network. Because if network is a problem, you will mess up your interview for sure, because you can't hear properly. Whatever you say, they don't say properly. In 5 minutes, people get irritated, and they just, because there'll be so many candidates. So by chance you get stuck in a situation like that, inform them that I'm so sorry, at this moment which you called, I'm in a place where I have a very bad network. So before itself say that, do you wish to continue like this, or would you give me some other time? It is okay to say that. If they're okay to continue, then you'll understand that if there is a little problem, they will not mind it and they'll not feel bad about it, right? That's what the major stuff. So like any other interview, you need to ensure you practice it, you research about the organization. By now you would have known anything and everything. So all what we learned in the interview, cracking interview things, will apply for virtual interview as well, right? You need to plan for it and you need to put your things accordingly. Okay, as I was mentioning, common telephonic interview mistakes, what people will do is forgetting your interview. Now, this is one thing which happens many a times, because once you get into a job, you will have this habit of maintaining calendar. Calendar is a mobile calendar which gives a reminder. Now you might forget your interview time, and the interviewer suddenly calls, and then you're searching a place. It is a very a bad experience, because if the call is scheduled and they will call you at that exact time, because we're all trained in that way. If company says I'll call you at 12:30, I'll call you at 12:30 dot. At that time, if you say, oh, give me 5 minutes, I'll find a free room, I'll find no noise, and there is no network here, my mobile is not charged, they will feel that you're not serious about it. So that's important, that do not forget about the interview, right? Answering the phone. Sometimes interview when calls, you don't pick the call. That is a lost hope thing. People will be like, what is this? When it is scheduled and the person is not even picking the call. Using slang. Slang means kind of a language which is not very professional, right? Ha bata kya bol raha hai, stuff like that. Kaun hai? Or the hello you say, right? What happens normally is people's initial talk will be like, little odd slangy way, and then when they understand, oh, interview, suddenly you'll get the extra respect. Yes sir, tell me. They'll understand that you're just being not being very polite. Okay, now, and not listening is another big mistake what we do over the telephonic, because in the telephone thing, because you can't see, you do not know their expression, you need to be double focused on listening every word, right? Like that critical listening, what I was telling you, should be on. If you do not listen to the question completely and start answering, it is not going to be a very nice way, right? And being interrupted, like you're talking and suddenly somebody opens the door, or a bell is honked, or somebody is saying that, you know, you want, and you're leaving that and talking, like the way right now I did. You shouldn't do it at interview, right? Now, this was my ex company CEO. I need to pick a call and at least say that, you know, can I call you at 7:15 once my training is over? It's something which you should never do in your interview call. Okay. And then charging your telephone, as I said, is the most basic stuff. Right. Now, there is something called as concluding a telephonic interview, which you should be very, very careful, because till now, I have taught you everything about interview, everything about resume, you know till now how to carry. The ending of the interview is also very important in the telephonic, especially, even in any virtual. It is especially very, very important. It is important to be enthusiastic throughout your telephonic conversation, but make a particular effort in the forthcoming at the close. In the sense, the energy level should be high when you talk in the entire interview, but during the closing, don't go down. It should be much more, right? The closing is what people will carry your memory, that in their little memory, and then take it ahead. You need to be enthusiastic during the closing as well, right? Which is important, very important for you to do that. Your interviewer may be able to tell you at the end of your conversation if they would like to see you for a face-to-face interview. So most of the telephonic rounds, they will tell you, right, that, okay, you're shortlisted, you can come and meet them. And sometimes they might not tell. If they don't tell, there is no harm. Don't think that, you're rejected. No harm in asking them when you might hear, right? If they don't tell you about the next thing, you ask them. So what is it, the next processor? When can I hear from you regarding the next round of interview? So they will need to open up a little and say, okay, we are looking at more. You'll understand by their language that whether you have done good or not, right? But most of the interviews over the phone or the video, they would normally say the next stages. In any interview, they'll try to do that, right? If they do, thank your interviewer, right? If they tell you yes or no, you should always thank, right? And ask them for further details, like when will be the interview, where will be the interview, who will be interviewing me, and all. In case they say that, no, man, I'm so sorry, it's not possible, you say, thank you very much for the opportunity. Till now, don't say that, how did you reject and all. Say thank you very much first for the opportunity. And you can ask this question, can you help suggest me that where did I do something which you didn't like, so that they will give you a genuine feedback and you can start learning from that feedback and see what can be done. Okay. So a few tips for telephonic interview: represent yourself professionally. When you're talking, it's like any face-to-face interview. Don't just make it loose. Find a quiet location. Try to sound confident and capable. Now, sounding confident is very important there, because they're not seeing you face to face. You might, but still, keep a smile and talk. See, when you smile and talk, even if the video is not there, they can't see you, they can hear you, they can feel you, that, you're positive and stuff like that. Don't interrupt the interviewer, and take a moment to collect your thoughts before responding to the question. Don't hurry to say. When somebody, they say, listen completely and then give a pause. Okay. And then you could start, right? Don't hurry to do. There is no buzzer is sticking there, or there is no time limit that you got to finish it in this time. Otherwise, there is nothing like that. You can go at your own pace and do that. That's not at all a problem, right? So these are a few things that you should keep in mind. Now, when it comes to a video interview, right, there are certain technical setup that would be required. Now, you should be very well prepared for it and do it. So there are two necessary technical components, right, in anything that we do. One is the hardware and the second one is the software. You need to ensure both are there. Now, software is important. It's not like every company will use same tools. For example, most of the trainings which are done from this company, they use Google Meets. But I use Zoom for all my trainings. So suddenly I told Ashok that, Ashok, can you please share the Zoom link? Now I'm sure you all been asked everybody that, okay, you got to install the Zoom app in your mobiles, only then you can connect. See, this is same stuff might happen in your interview also. They might use a Microsoft product. They might use something else which you do not have yet. So you need to know where are they doing that video, and then you need to set up the software and the hardware both, right? Let's understand what are those. Choosing your webcam, right? See, most of you people right now, when I ask you to switch on your videos also, you are little not so open and free to use, right? Think for yourself. Why do you think you are not okay to use your video? There could be the one reason is, you are not dressed for the occasion. You might be a little uncomfortable at home clothes. Maybe your room is messy. Maybe the background is not looking very nice. Maybe the lighting is little low. Maybe your camera is not of a good quality where it is there. See, understand, if your camera is of a not good quality, your webcam is not very clear, that is how the impression will go. They will not understand that this candidate don't have a good one. They will see that he's not very serious about it. Unfortunately, that's how people take. So ensure you choose your webcam. You also need to see your webcam placement, so that, for example, are you looking at my screen right now? When you see me, what are you looking behind me? Right? So this is a virtual screen. This is not a real screen. I have put this screen. This is not my real office window and all. If you see my real office window, if I remove the screen, you might see a little, you will actually see a green screen behind it. That's what I have put. Or you would see a little messy. But when I talk, I don't want to keep 10 things in the screen because I don't want to get distracted with anything. So I'm very particular about how the placement of webcam should be there and how it is there. Even right now, when you're looking at me, you're seeing in a particular angle. If for a moment, if I turn my camera here and there, see, you would start finding, off the screen stuff. I put my laptop in a particular angle because I want you to only be in this way. That's why lighting is very important. A clear lighting, a bright light has to be there, right? If you'd see me also over here, I try to ensure that there is enough light in the room. In fact, I have a spotlight right now on me that is coming. I'm not saying for your interviews you need to do all these things, but my point is, ensure don't sit in a dark corner. Many people, what they do, they turn their laptops or mobiles towards the sun. So sun is behind and it falls on there and they can't see. These are all distractions. You shouldn't give a chance for that, right? Webcam software, whichever is required, you should have, and then use a good headset, right? A earphone or a headset which is more clearer and which you can talk easily. Don't try to use a phone like this, because a 45-50 minutes you hold like this, you will not be comfortable, and it will show in your talking that your neck is aching and you're not very comfortable. Interviews, always use a earphone or a headphone which are of comparatively good quality. Okay. And then background camera, which I've said, the background of it, whatever it is there. Now, how do you prepare? As I said, practice is the only stuff. It is important to practice a lot in video interviews, because it's like this. How many of you, if I ask you, are okay to wear a blazer? Blazer, coat, suit? How many of you are okay to wear a blazer? Do people use the blazer?
No, sir.
Right? You people don't use the blazer? Never?
For functions and all, but interview, not a blazer.
Right. In your college, they give you in uniform, right? But you never use it outside. Now, suddenly, one day for the interview, you want to put that blazer. How uncomfortable you are. Do you understand? And that uncomfortable will show. So you should not dress something or take something which you are not very comfortable with. Same with video interviews. You know what? When you talk to people, you don't want to switch on your video. And suddenly when you switch on that interview day, you will see yourself there and you'll start feeling little nervous and little, because you are not habituated to do that. It is like this. A new actor suddenly goes in front of camera, will have a problem to face the camera. Isn't it? But after say 4 or 5 days of shooting, now they don't mind where the camera is, how to do it. They're very, very comfortable doing that. That's exactly what I'm saying. So try practicing little virtual interviews. Talk to your friends in Zoom, or these are all free tools. Use it. Check your sounds, check your video, and be comfortable with that. If you're comfortable, you will do it much better. If you're not comfortable, they will find out that you're not very comfortable. See, Fayaz already said, let me come out of this and switch on my camera. It's a good stuff, right? See, we do not do for some or the other silly reason. But if I'm taking your interview today, I would say, right, I was trying to push this softly in last 2-3 days. I tell all of you people, can you please, when you ask me question, at least, can you all switch on your cameras? See, the reason why I try to do is just for that, to ensure that you people come out of that little uncomfortable zone, right? Ki, arey, how do I do it, and you know what can be done there. That's the whole idea. No other reason. Okay, so get comfortable with your video interviewing. Practice as many times as you need to improve your skills. Use your friends, talk to them in videos. Now everything is there, virtual, everybody is, so you are comfortable doing all that, right? With practice interview tools, you can re-record a question as many times as you need and get valuable feedback from friends and mentors before moving on. Now taking like if you do are two friends, if they're very good friends, right, they should be able to take each other's interview once and then record that. Zoom gives you all that options free of cost. Okay, and then you see your own recording, you will understand how were you talking. Then you will know what body language I should change. So when I conduct a 3-day workshop, 3 full-day workshop, I conduct on only interviewing skills, right? When I do that, I basically do like this, where you have a camera, you all record, we play the recording, and then you see what kind of mistakes you do, and then you start correcting from there, which is very critical. Now, a few tips for video interviews are maintain good eye contact, because in video they can see. Now, eye contact is important. For example, in my laptop screen, if you're seeing, now this place is where the camera is. So if I look in the camera, you feel I'm looking at you. But sometimes when I look at my slide or other, you'll go a little bit. But if I see my outside screen, I have a dual screen where my slide is right now presented. If I look at that screen and talk to you, how are you feeling? You're feeling that I'm not talking to you, but actually I'm talking to you. So in the interview, focus on the camera and then talk. Don't worry that somebody is there or not. It's important to focus on the camera and talk. That's how you maintain that eye contact. Make sure you smile because they're seeing, and the good part is they can only see till here. Okay, so all this you can show is what you can do positive. So your facial expressions, your smile, your shaving, your hairstyle, your mustache, these all plays a very important role in video interviews. So control all that. Control fidgeting and other nervous energies. Nervous energies like, you're doing this, or you suddenly get a pen, you hold it, and then you do, all these unnecessary things. Don't do it, right? You should control all those things. Calm your nerves. Nervousness is very common. Everybody would be nervous. The best way to calm your nervous is take a small break, one deep breath, and then give a smile and start. Nervousness is like a little chemical and reaction in your body. It will calm down. A deep breath, hold, and do. Sometimes when you run suddenly and comes quickly to one place and then start, and then you talk, you will have that fatigue. Those are all things you should avoid there. Okay. Optimize your posture and position. Don't say it like this or legs up. Optimize it. If the screen is this much, if you see as much possible, you could be on the screen and come in front, involve, and then talk. Okay, check your internet and bandwidth, because video takes a much more bandwidth than only audio. So your internet speed has to be there. You need to arrange for that, right? So that's the reason many people go to browsing centers and all in a closed room to give the interviews, just because your bandwidth has to be there, right? To do a tech run through, basically tech run through means trial run you do. Whatever software they're doing, like everything is working fine or not. Because it is all small things which doesn't work will unnecessarily hamper the overall mood of the interview, which you should avoid. You shouldn't be doing it. And practice for your video interviews. As many times you do it, it'll that good. Control other distractions you might have. Like in a video interview, suddenly somebody is walking behind, or somebody is doing something else. There's a disturbance, or suddenly a glass fell down, a sound. Those are all our distractions. You should try to avoid all those things, right? In the end, I want to say what you should keep in mind is it's possible that your live video interview will be recorded for others to review, right? It depends on what position you are, how many people are doing. People could record your interviews to see it later, right? So multiple people could be influenced by your overall presentation in the interview, the way you'd have done. So do your best there. Give everything that you have. Don't think that it's video, you can do anything. As much focused you are in a real interview, be that much there, right? By mitigating technical, camera, body language related factors, you improve the odds that will focus on the substance of your answer and what you could do for the company, right? If you remove all these small things of, bandwidth hai ki nahi, light hai ki nahi, camera acha hai ki nahi, mera body language, if all these things come out, that's when the real content that you're talking about, the stories that you're saying, the messages that you're passing, the learnings that you're putting in front will be taken, considered. Right. That's all what majorly I was thinking to talk to you on the interview stuff. I hope the 5 sessions that we have been doing, resume writing, where you understand very clearly, you understand interview as a game plan, what all to do, how do you do virtual interviews, the questions we discussed yesterday a lot, and other things. You have any more questions for me, you can ask. In fact, GD, group discussion also, we have discussed in a little more detail. If you people have any questions specific to anything, you can ask me now. This is all that I have to share with you people for this presentation. You people have any questions for me? Guys, no sir. Oh, Balu has no question. Okay, that's wonderful. Anybody else? You people have any questions for me? Have you all found these 5 sessions useful for yourself? If yes, say yes there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you please share snaps of important points from slides? Which important points would you want? Tell me. Very useful. Yes. First, if you can switch on your mic and talk to me. What is that you want? I'll do one thing. I'll just ask one of my team member, if possible, the slides that I have used, right? If they can make a JPEG images for other things, like how I have sent and share with Ashok, I will share. Maybe he can share it with all of you. Or the recordings of this entire 5 sessions. I need to put all these things, because these recordings are recorded in the cloud. I need to download that, make it into a session, and then put it across for all you people. I can do that. Right. Any other questions you people have? Okay. Now, if you people don't have a question, then I have something to ask you people. Like this topic, which we are talking to you, and then you people showed interest and you have come, right? What do you think other topics that I should try to bring it for you, which can help you for your career growth? Can everybody give me one point of feedback at least of what do you think? What kind of topics do you think you miss? What kind of behavioral or soft skills that you think you should learn, and you think I should bring it to you people?
Sir, this is Jeremiah here.
Yes, Jeremiah.
So one thing I have seen is they'll check this psychology test.
That is not called psychology test. That's called as what is that called as? Okay, you tell me the question. It will come to me.
Yeah. So
psychometric test.
Yeah, psychometric test.
Right.
So in that, what they'll check, sir? Like, what's their intention? Like whether
psychometric tests are very powerful tests. Okay, psychometric tests. They're prepared thoughtfully to know what kind of a person you are. Okay. Now you shouldn't and you cannot cheat a psychometric test. Don't think in that way. Psychometric test, whoever is doing, you should be very truthful about what you're writing, because that is good for you and also for the company.
Okay.
Okay. Psychometric test shows you what kind of a person you are. For example, say with regard to secrecy, maintaining of secrecy, you have scored, say, out of say 1 to 100, you have scored 30.
Okay.
Right? It means you cannot keep secrets. Right? You don't keep secrets. Now, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a bad thing.
It is actually, you do not know until you know what position you're going for. For example, if you are going for a customer service company, customer service team, and they ensure that they are very transparent with the customer, they like the people who don't keep secrets, because then they don't do double game. They just play what exactly it is. But imagine you are joining a finance team where there is revenues and expenses and salaries which need to be kept confidential. They want people who need to keep things more confidential when required.
Okay.
Right? So it is neither right or wrong. It is what kind of a person is required. Remember, I told you, if you are like this, if company is like this, if match happens, will move. If you are like this, company is like this, it will not move. A psychometric test will easily tell you what kind of person you are. But it doesn't tell you like 100% of this. It will give an indications. Like, for example, this person is a team player or not a team player. This person is, quick learner. And there is actually, every big companies, when you go, they decide what they want to know and then they create the psychometric test accordingly. So whenever you have a psychometric test, be honest. Don't try to cheat it, because you can't cheat it. If you try to cheat it, you will get out, because you would put random answers here and there, and then they will understand it is not suiting. You have to be your original. You have to be at your best original, in the sense, every one of us are good sometimes, okay sometimes, very bad sometimes. Correct? We agree?
Yeah,
at least to ourselves, we all know.
Yeah.
When you are very good, how you are, you should put it that way.
Okay.
Getting my point?
Yes.
Say, for example, a beggar comes and asks for money. If you have a good mood, you give money. If you are in a very good mood, you'll give more money. If you are in okay mood, you don't even look at it. If you're in a bad mood, you open the door and scold him.
Yeah.
Right? So pick your good mood. And when they ask you, would you like to share some money? If somebody asks, yeah, if I'm in a normal good mood, I'll share it. Right? So think that you're in that good mood and answer everything. That's how you should do it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Done. Anything else, people? Faya says communication and body language skills. Do you think, Fayaz, if we organize sessions which are deeper into communication communication things, like, see, to a level in this program, I told you what all things are required, right? If I get into more details of how you can get it, and communication is not just talking and listening, it is more, there are much more skills involved, like say assertiveness skills. You should know how to be assertive, proactive skills. There has to be an emotional intelligence, that n number of behavioral and communication skills. Do you think if any program on that, if I bring in, would you people be interested? Okay, Arvind says yes. Okay, Jeremy is also saying yes. Fair enough. Cool. I just wanted to know that. I hope Wasim also says okay. Haan sir. Okay. So I hope your 5 sessions were helpful, useful for you. You have any questions, you can ask me. You have any suggestions, you can tell me. You have any feedbacks for me, you can give me. All yours.
So can we share our resumes to your WhatsApp number so that we can get a guidance?
WhatsApp, it would not work. I would not be able to see. Maybe put it in my email, right? But don't expect quick response. I have so many couple of stuff to do. But if I open it, I will definitely give you a feedback of what I feel. Okay. I hope you all have my email ID, which is vijay@upandrise.com. Send there. I will go through it, and if I'll find, I know you will get some feedback. If it is good, you will get good. If you'll have something, very honestly, whatever I feel, I'll tell you. Right? Whatever can be improved also, I'll guide you. Okay?
Okay. Sir, I have one question, sir.
Yes.
Hello, this is Arvind, sir.
Yes, Arvind, tell me.
Sir, can you see my video?
I can see your video.
Good evening, sir. My name is Arvind.
Yes.
I have one question. What is meant by sequential interview, sir?
Sequential interview. Sequential interview is basically interviews that happens in sequence, one after one. So what happens, I told in the beginning, selection and rejection, right? Rejection is where people cut and then they finally. Sequential interview is like your selection interview, where you attend, say, 5 interviews. Every interview you score, imagine you're scoring some points. And finally they will say, overall, this fellow has scored like this. Most of the time, what happens in a sequential interview kind of a setup, organizations decide, like, say, for example, there are 5 people who will interview you. Okay, let's say that A, B, C, D, E will interview. They will say that A, check his resume and all the details mentioned there. B, check his behavior and how he is, right? C, check his values and all these things. D, check his technical skills and all these things. And F, check all the things one more time to see if they are okay with that or not. So they would have planned like that. Remember, I told you after every interview, they all meet up and they discuss. So in a sequence interview, what happens? Every candidate goes through all the interview and finally they will decide whether to select you, not select you, or put you on hold, or give you some feedback, or negotiate on your salary, or give what you ask, and things like that.
Sir, I have another doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, which are the best apps for practicing video interviews, sir?
Zoom is a very good app right now, the one which you're using, which is free, which can record and talk to your best friend. Okay, 2 people do, and you decide a date and a profile. One job JD, you take it and ask your friend to interview and record it, and you the same way, you do both and watch your recording. You will learn wonderfully. No other thing can teach you that good.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right? Okay. Anything else, guys? Wonderful. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot for joining me, for listening me to do all these 5 days. I'm happy that I would be able to do whatever little I can do in whatever little time I have, right? Thanks a lot. Catch up, you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.